So this is mine and Medium Dave Hansel's live double podcast
Just
for, yes, Dave's Mystic Stew podcast and my Speaking Spirit podcast. And we're just going to do it both in one. And at the same time, we're live on my YouTube channel. And so any questions that anybody has who joins us, we'll include that on the podcast. And yeah, Dave was just saying he has a pretty cool, I was going to say someone's here, but I think that's probably you.
me. So I'll be notified when it goes live in 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. So
That-
this will be only for the podcast. This part is exclusive.
This is
This
exclusively
is
for the
exclusive.
podcast. So I guess what we're doing today is, because it's going to be on both of our podcasts, is India and I decided to come on and do a chat today. So it's just me and India hanging out, and we are welcoming any questions you have about metaphysics, spirituality, even just a reading. I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever you'd like to do, just to kind of introduce ourselves to you
Yeah.
and to let you know what we do and maybe help you out with any questions that are burning in your head.
Yes. So what Dave does is he's a psychic, he's an intuitive, he's a medium, he's a clairvoyant, he's all these things. And he experiences the messages from spirit one way. Or in many ways, and I experience them in complementary ways where I'm intuitive. And I also like to read cards as Dave does as well. We both basically do all the same
Right.
stuff, just in different amounts or different ways. The key difference is that Dave does hold full conversations with people on the other side as a medium. That's the part that I really haven't gone fully into. Um, but we love to do readings together because the messages do come in such different ways. We also just as people tend to focus on different areas.
Yeah.
So, you
And
know,
like you
yeah.
were saying before, like I'm a spiritual medium, I guess is what people call it, a spiritual medium. So when I connect over two people. And that's why I have the conversations to it. I connect to them. But I also use cards like India does. But India is way better at cards than me because the intuitiveness that she has with cards is different than mine. So India can draw the answers or draw the energy from the universe from using the cards sometimes or most times, but she also does that outside of the cards as well, because they will send us signs, not even looking at cards or anything. They send us signs and send us things. We've just been doing this for so long, we recognize the signs, because a lot of people say, how do you do this? How do you recognize the signs? It comes with practice. It's learning a new language
Yeah.
basically. And some of us like for me personally, I already knew the language when I growing up. So I already knew the language, but I did have to learn the symbols over and over again. And so that's what India does too, is she's learned the language. So she knows what vibrations come in, what they feel like. She knows when they, like if we have a card, and if you're a card reader and you have a card, you look at it, it's going to have a different energy for each and every person you're reading for, and the colors are going to be different, and things are going to, I mean, I pulled out a card the other day. I was reading for somebody, and I had these cards I've been using for about 5 years, and I saw in one of them a little butterfly. I have not noticed that butterfly in 5 years, but the butterfly was important to the reading, so that's why it struck out to me. So that's kind of what we do, and not exactly how we do it, but it's what we do. We
Yeah.
love talking to the other side, and we always want to let people know that you have the exact same connection we do. You do. You can connect to the other side yourself, to your higher self, to God, angels, whatever is your faith is, or whatever your belief is. It's the only difference between us and you maybe is the fact that we had the calling, we went into service to others, and they kind of speed up, I guess, the teachings of it. So we're just a little more in depth in what we know. I guess
Yeah.
it's like doctors. Like if everybody is a doctor, but then there's going to be certain doctors that specialize in certain areas, and that's because they studied and learned it. But it doesn't mean that every doctor couldn't do it.
Right.
It's just that those doctors particularly chose to learn surgery or to learn cosmetic surgery or heart surgery. They chose to learn that because that was their path. So that's kind of what we do, I guess. Do you agree?
Yes. Yeah. And just through practice. I mean, I know that um, many of us have always gotten the messages on our own, or always felt like, oh, okay, I always recognize these as signs, or this as a language. You know, like with me, I used to study literature, and even in the literature, I would see messages come through the symbols, through the things that spirit would show me there. And many of us have those kinds of that kind of intuition. And then there was just a certain point, you know, about 6 or 7 years ago now, where I was guided to start sharing that with people, to start really going into that mission, if you want to call it, or expression of those abilities. And it was through the practice of, you know, going out on that limb, sharing something with someone, and then allowing spirit to provide the feedback, that really honed that, you know, as something that I'm now sharing with other people. So if you're receiving those gifts, it is okay, as long as you're not sort of, you don't ever want to go out to someone and just start saying, I have a message for you, a stranger, I'm going to give it to you. But it's okay to start practicing sharing those gifts. You might want to partner together with, you know, a friend who's also interested in these things, and say, hey, let's practice some telepathy, or let's practice sharing some intuition together, and really hone that, because that is one of the ways that spirit, you know, um, broadens that intuition, is through the sharing. And so just practice it, try it, especially with cards. You can just play with those.
Cards are a wonderful divination tool. Divination tools are wonderful. The only thing I
Yeah.
always tell people, like if you're using a pendulum, most pendulum work for me, in my personal opinion, pendulum work is pretty much done for yourself more than anything. Um,
Mhm.
I don't use for mediumship, I don't use any divination. Um,
Mhm.
it's not required for me. Some people use it, you know, and that's their thing, and that's okay. I was trying to find and see if I can actually find us on here, and I can't.
On the YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now too. We'll figure that out. There may be a step I still need to do. Let me do that real quick.
yeah, it says we're live, but it
Okay.
says, yeah, live at
Want to
10:35.
see that, and we want to see other everybody else come and join us. So we are going to do that. Oh, I think we're good now. Okay, so it should pop up any second now. I
Oh,
think
okay.
there seemed to have been one more step I needed to hit. You know, that's a funny synchronicity too. And I know Dave has some things to share about synchronicity today. But if you start, you know, talking about practice, you can practice on your own, speaking with spirit. The reason I called my podcast Speaking Spirit is because it is a different language than any human language we have. That spirit language is a completely different language. It works differently, it feels different. And you can start by setting your intention in the morning. Okay, I want to hear my messages and I want to see my messages more clearly than ever. Please show me, please help me to hear. And everything starts becoming a message. So even just now, there was one more step for me to complete in the process. And it was so simple. All I had to do was click over, do a thing, clicky, clicky, and then it's done. How synchronistic is that for our journeys? You know, sometimes we can be sitting there and going, wow, I'm sitting here just waiting and I'm not hearing anything from spirit and I'm not seeing my signs and I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. But truly, spirit's just like, I wonder when they're going to see this little simple thing I'm showing them that they can just do and then get everything they need. It's so easy.
Yeah, exactly. I
Mhm.
still can't find us, but that's okay because I don't know, even though I am very technically can't find us. I was just seeing what we look like. I don't know if anybody can see us at this point. Uh,
Where are we?
can you see us?
Where are we? We can't see us.
Kind of
How is
fun, but I would.
how is this synchronistic? So it's like, I can't see me. I can't see me in the spirit realm. And I have heard that from so many people lately, where it's like, I know spirit's there, but I cannot perceive it. I can't see it. I can't, it's like, it's frustrating sometimes for people, because there will be, well, basically, it's like we can't control it. The ego cannot control when spirit messages are going to come through, how we're going to be able to receive it. And I tell you, that can be something even with doing this work, where the ego tries to wiggle its way in there and go, oh, we're going to be doing this. Well, that sounds like something I need to control. That sounds like something I need to get a handle on. And you can definitely look around and see in the spirit community and people on the spirit path, you know, moving into very sort of territory where it's like, oh, they're trying to direct this with their ego. You know, this is something that is moving out of the realm of um, being spirit directed and moving more into, oh, okay, well, this is a person now who has intuition, but who's trying to sort of fit it in a mind directed box.
Yeah, it is. And this is kind of like for anybody listening, and if you can hear us right now, and if you can see us on YouTube, I don't know yet. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
But this is kind of like what me and India go through with communicating with spirits. We have to figure out how to do it. So, and then we're figuring out how to do that right now on YouTube. So
exactly.
if YouTube is the other side, we're trying to figure out how in the
Yeah,
hell we're going to get our connection to the YouTube.
that's
And
right.
eventually we will by meditating and going through the steps.
And it's whatever spirit wants, truly.
Yeah, I can't find this yet, but I
I
think
know.
it's so funny. Can
I
you?
know. I'm going to fiddle with things while you share your synchronicity story and we're going to figure it out.
All right. Um, so the backstory for anybody listening is I lived in this wonderful apartment building in Dallas, North Carolina, about 5 years ago. And I wanted to live in a house because I was sick of the apartment. Well, that place had a house open, and it happened to be there was this house across the street from me that I always looked at all the time. And I kept wanting that house all the time. Like, I just want to move to that house. I was trying to find out whose house it was and so on and so forth. And then one day I called my landlord and I said, hey, I wanted to move to a house. So I don't know if I should give a notice or do you guys have a house available? And they said, actually, we have one coming up and it's the one right across the street from you with the blue rail. That's the house I was talking about. So I got that house and I moved in that house. I lived there for a while. After I moved in, they sold the house to another person who kept me as a tenant. And then they kept telling me they weren't going to send a house. And in the mean, they weren't going to sell the house. So I started taking care of all these stray kitties outside. And I took care of them for over a year, most of them, just helping them and putting out food and so on and so forth. And there was two individual kitties that I was coming real close to and stayed in my porch. They were very old cats and very kind of sick, but I just took care of them. Ended up having to move from that house, long story. So I moved into the house I'm in now. I brought the two kitties with me. I got them in my car. They just kind of jumped in. They just knew that they were going. They came over here. They were very sick and they were here for about a week or two. And then one died. He passed away. He actually came over the fence from my backyard and laid down under my window in my bedroom, which is very sweet. And I found him and I took him in the backyard and I sat with him until he passed away. And then the other one, who I never really pet much before, that one let me the night before he died, because he eventually died, I got to give him a bath and comb out all his fleas, and he was losing his hair, real sick. Well, he gave me that moment with him where I got to pet him and hold him, and then he died the next day. So it was just me in this house with my house cat. And then when I got this house I'm renting, I found out there was no heat in this house. So there's no heater in this house at all. So I told the landlord, they promised, okay, well, that's okay, when we will install heating in it when the fall comes. So the fall started to come like about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I told them, I let them know. Well, the owner of the house, the actual owner, not the realty company, he
Mm-hmm.
was trying to cheap out and not put in this bad heating and all that, and nobody was calling me back. It was getting colder here and I was like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I can't be nice. This actually, by the way, happened to my last house. I didn't have heat for an entire winter, so I was pretty much fed up with it. So I went down to the county code commission where I live, and they inspected my house and called those guys, and last week they had to come over on Tuesday and they had 48 hours to install heat into my house, which they did.
Uh-huh.
Now text me on Friday, last Friday, and said a couple days ago, and said that the county code commissioner found so many things wrong with this house. They rented this house to me prematurely. They should not have rented out this house. All the wiring has to be redone in the entire house. So the
Oh
walls have to be
my
torn
God.
down, wired. So I have to move again. I've only been here 2 months. So I
Wow.
have to move again. So the house next door that guy owns. So they're trying to get me into that house next door. But anyway, I sat here and wondered, what is the reasoning? Because that's how I am. I'm like, why did you move me from here to here to here to here to here?
Right.
And it adds up. One was to get to the house that I really wanted. And then when I got to the house I wanted, it was to take care of the kitties that I wanted to take care of. And then to move from that house to this house now, it was this house has a backyard with a fence. So I got to bring those two kitties over, which actually died. And now that they're gone, now this house, they're like, well, this house no longer is going to serve you. So they want me to move on again. And the house next door to me is actually bigger, but I don't even know what's going on again. And it's like, am I just here to take down this slumlord? And is
Yeah.
that what I'm doing? And then I can move on.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I've only been here 2.5 months and I've got to move again. So now I got to call lawyers and stuff because I had to make sure that they pay for everything. They already are aware of that. I of course signed a lease for a year, so they're stuck with me. And whatever they have to do to this house, they would have to put me up in a hotel and put all my stuff in storage, or they have to pay for movers or do anything. So they're trying to figure out what's happening. I'll find out more about that today. But
Wow.
those are the things that happen. And like everybody keeps asking me, they're like, David, aren't you upset or aren't you angry? And I'm like, there's no reason to be. There
Right.
really isn't a reason to be. I've learned throughout my lifetime and having my near-death experience and everything else, you just go with it. You just
Mhm.
gotta go with it. Everybody has problems. I am still grateful that I have a house and I still have money in the bank and my parents are still here. I have everything. I am very grateful for a lot of things. So because I have to move again in 2 months, that is nothing to be whiny about. It's
Right.
nothing to be whiny about. There are people who don't have homes. There's homeless people. There are people out there freezing. There are people who don't have heat at all. They didn't know how to contact the people that I contacted. And by the way, I got all that information to contact those people from, guess who? Spirit.
Spirit.
And they just put them all in front of my face. So, and that's what happened. They brought the right people to me to fix the situation.
Yes, and I love the point you made. It's the hardest thing for us to absorb as humans, which is the fact that, spirit really is on our side
Oh yeah.
and really is helping us all the time, even when it doesn't feel like it. So, and also having that understanding that the way things look on the other side is so different from how things look in the earthly plane. You know, my prayer this morning was, please just sort of lift me out of the human viewpoint. When you're playing like a video game and you can be in the viewpoint of like POV, like this is what you're seeing as the player, or you can be in the viewpoint of like I'm in a bird's eye view and I can see everything. And that's kind of how the shift that we make when we're looking at things from the spirit point of view. We can see further. We're not as limited to, oh no, this isn't working out, that's not working out, because we can see, oh, spirit's bringing me over there. But we're in that POV of the human. We're seeing things come at us and we're experiencing it. And we're like, oh no, we can't see where we're going. It can be really frustrating and really upsetting. So it's a matter of shifting that perspective, literally, of saying, oh, I've been really down here in my human perspective for a while because my body's been going through this or my mind's been going through that. Let me shift a little bit to that spirit perspective. The thing that we have to sort of not do or be careful of doing, and this is where people talk about spiritual whitewashing and like moving into that place of like, oh, I just don't have to experience things as a human. That won't work either. You cannot shift out and be in that spirit perspective all the time and still live a human life, because that's just sort of not going to work, because then you're going to be denying certain aspects of your human experience. You're going to be denying and rejecting things that you really are here to experience. So it's a
Exactly.
blend. Yeah, it's a blend of both those perspectives.
Yeah, but in the meantime, we just kind of got to just roll with it. And
Yeah,
people say, why does spirit do that? They don't do it to us. And
right.
why don't they fix it? They can't fix it. We have to ask.
Right.
They are basically your guide, basically knows kind of your plan in a bit.
Mhm.
So they kind of get you to the certain spots in order to go on with your plan, to do your plan. So whatever my plan is completely, and not even I know, we don't always know every purpose of ours. We know most of it, but we don't know all of it. They just kind of get us to the places things happen, and they don't make things bad happen. Just things might happen, and then they just try to help us out of it.
Right.
So
Right.
nobody does anything to us. A lot of people in like religions, everything will say, well, God's forsaken me, or God has did this to you, or God made you blind, or God made you, and that's just not it. That is just
Right.
not how that goes. Um, we are who we are when we get here for whatever reason, and whatever we chose to be, do, or happen to us, they are there to bail us out and to help us through it, because it all has to do about experiencing something that you can't experience on the other side. You got to
Mhm.
experience here. You got to come into a physical being to do it. And this is like one of the, I guess, one of the only places where it's this emotional. I
Right.
mean, Earth is there's a billion emotions, and they only stem from two emotions, which is fear and love. Those are the two sponsoring emotions. If we can remember that, whenever you make a choice, you got to ask yourself, am I making this choice from the fear side or from the love side? And to recognize that, it would be the if somebody did something to you wrong and you got angry, it's like, I'm going to get revenge. Well, that's not the love side. Obviously, you're going towards it's being the sponsored by the fear. So
Mhm.
that's never going to work out in your favor. It just won't. If you did it from the left side, just kind of like accepted, okay, that person's a schmuck. I don't need to be around that person. Let's just get rid of them altogether. And why have revenge? When you want revenge, that goes back to the fear base. When there's a murderer on trial, the first thing we all say is, I hope he gets put to death. I hope he gets this. You are now under the sponsoring thought of fear, because you are now you're judging someone, and you're hoping that they die. And so you're seeking revenge. That's just as negative as what that negative person may have done. You know, not that
Yeah.
people deserve what they get, but I've never sat here and was angry because someone didn't get the death penalty, or someone didn't get the fine, or somebody didn't get that. I'm like, you just got to let the world handle it the way it's supposed to go.
Well, that's the thing is it requires a whole shift in how we, have always been taught to deal with life, to be a person. It requires a whole shift from, the mantra that Spirit's been giving me lately that's been so helpful. And I don't know if this will be helpful to anybody else, if it's just the way my individual brain works. But the mantra has really been, it's none of my business. My only business is to align with and listen to what is the guidance that I'm being shown. What am I being shown to do right now? The rest is none of my business. It's like the rest is all spirit business. And maybe that just shows how my mind works, because I really, uh, if I try to focus on too much, I will get, spread out, strung out, everything else. But spirit knows how to like make me focus in and go, hey, India, this is what your focus is. Your focus is listen to the guidance we're giving you, follow it, and release everything else.
Yeah.
It sounds, things that sound sort of super simple typically are true. It's our minds like to go, well, it's just not that simple. It actually is, because in every moment, even if you have very big problems, if you're saying to spirit, okay, guys, I know you're showing me this is a really big problem moment. Please show me how you're helping me. Please show me what I'm supposed to do next. You will have all the answers ultimately, because you're tapping into spirit knowing, not your mind knowing.
Yeah. If this is interesting, but if people realize
Uh-huh.
when we come here, we do go through, like some people call it the veil of forgetfulness, whatever. But anyway, you come here and you have agreed to forget everything, pretty much. Forget everything. You may come in remembering something for whatever reason, like, how to play the piano, how to play the violin when you're 2 or 3 months old, or whatever. Some of those prodigies, they brought that in with them for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us, like, I remembered a little bit of the other side when I got here, so a lot of this stuff didn't scare me as a child. But for the most part, who we are now is defined by everybody else. everybody else told us who we were growing up. Oh, Indy is a very sweet girl. She's always going to be a sweet girl. That's how they're defining her. They're making her that. Dave's really nice, so I was going to make it that. Or Dave's crazy. That's something. So they're defining us. We are not. The entire world defines who we are, and then we adhere to that our entire lives. Now, if you want to, the trick is to this life, I think, is to remember who you really are. And you can't do that because everybody else just made you something else. They just wrote your character for you. So to remember who you are is to pay attention to how you react to everything that happens to you. How do you react? So if I'm walking down the street, everybody says, Dave's a really nice person, you know, and so that's the thing, you know, everybody thinks I'm a nice person. And somebody says something terrible to me or just an awful thing to me. How do I react to it? If I react to it like everybody else told me, I would just slough it off or cry or be sensitive about it. But you know, most times it's not true. I'll probably react in rage. So if I reacted in some sort of rage that's different from what everybody else told me I was, then you're a little closer to who you really are. Some people really are uh, get angry, you know,
Yeah.
at things. There's nothing wrong with being here and getting angry at something, but how you respond to something is going to give you a hint of who you really are. And once you know who you really are, like, okay, maybe I am a really angry person. People are wrong. I'm really angry. How could I possibly fix that? Because it doesn't feel good. Then you fix it.
Yeah.
So you come here and you expand yourself. This is expansion. People ask, how do you expand to the other side? You do it by expanding here, by realizing how you are and what you do and the mistakes you made and how you fix it.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. So it does look like, I mean, while we've been doing this, I have been attempting and reattempting, and it keeps acting like it's going live on both Facebook and YouTube, and then it's not. So then what I've done now is I've posted the webinar access out there. So basically, anybody who comes into this webinar right now is going to get just very personal attention. And if nobody comes in, we know that Spirit's really got something else in mind.
Yeah, then
So,
they're like, well, they just made a podcast. Yay.
I mean, maybe Spirit's like, you know what? We have a podcast in mind that isn't that. So that's fine. And we can always, do things another way. That's very synchronistic too, is, as human beings, Dave and I came into this morning with a very clear idea of what we wanted to do. We're like, we're going to do this. We're going to go live. It's going to be like this. It'll be great. Spirit's showing something else. And instead of looking at that, I mean, we could definitely spend this entire time, this entire hour,
Funny.
just
Yeah.
fussing and worrying over the technology and, oh no, it didn't work and blah, 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 and then going, well, why was I guided to try to do that live and then it didn't work, and getting all in a knot? Or we could move forward, say, okay, Spirit, what do you have in mind? Stay open, keep trying whatever. And
Go.
see what happens. And it could be the best thing we've ever done. I mean, you just don't know. And it's that openness that's so important. It's really key, is noticing, how is my mind actually making things harder on me by throwing up this is a problem, this is a problem, basically telling you things are a problem that don't have to be. you
Yeah.
know it's not like we're sitting here, oh my God, Dave and I, we can sit and bitch, we can sit and have human problems. It's not like we're perfect people, but it is a recognition of going, oh wow, you know what? Every time I let go, Spirit does have a better plan. And every time I do let go of that human desire for things to go the way I want, Spirit does have a better plan. And that just feels better. It's not like it's some like, oh, better way to be because you're superior. It just feels better. And then things just work out better. So it's actually just kind of, in a way, it just makes more sense, to do it Spirit's way than to make yourself miserable and hit your head against problems and walls. But that being said, as a human being, Spirit also knows there are some days where it won't work. There are some days where I would be so much in my human body and in my irritability or whatever, I might look at Dave and go, you know what, today it's not going to happen. I give up, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But just recognizing that's okay too. It's not about, trying to be a perfect spirit being while we're on this planet.
No, I like making mistakes, and I like when things get messed up like this. It's kind of
Mhm.
fun. It's like we were saying earlier when that story I told you. You just got to kind of go with it and trust that things are going to happen the way they're going to happen. Even
Exactly.
if anybody watches me on TikTok, there's like I think it's like I just looked at it and it amazes me. 'Cause I joined TikTok and I swore it was not going to do TikTok.
Mhm.
A few TikToks. I thought, oh, I'll make a TikTok and let's see, I'll get some stuff out there. Some of my friends said, just do TikTok. You can talk about the spiritual stuff. Nobody paid attention. I was getting ready to get off it, and I got 1,000 followers, so I could do a live. And that
Mhm.
was it. I did a live. The live was awful. It was an
Mhm.
awful. There was like 4 people on, and it was the same. And not that I'm discrediting anybody or saying your problems are important, but it was all of these high school kids. What am I gonna? It's Bobby like me, and people like
Mhm.
me. It's like what? I don't really care. I mean, I'm sure you're like 10, and don't worry about it. Your marriage is in your future, yes, and everything else. Those aren't the pressing questions I wanted to get out there.
Yeah.
So I let it go, and right before I let it go, I just asked Spirit one more time. I'm like, so what do you want? Do I stay here or what? And they're just like, David, answer a question, answer questions. And there happened to be 2 questions on one of my lives when I talked about being a medium and stuff. And they were really pretty racy questions. It's like, I'm not going to do this because they're going to get all kinds of flack from it, but they kept lighting it up. So I answered those 2 questions and they went viral, those two. So it took me up to like 48,000 followers, and they've just been doing it ever since. Now, yesterday, even there was a quick question, and I was looking at it, and out of the thousands of questions I get a day, there's always some question that is lit up. And it's like when I look at it, it's like you have to answer that. It's like this, like you have to answer it. You have to answer it. And so I did yesterday. And let's see that video yesterday. And this is why I say you gotta kind of listen to Spirit, because that video that they wanted me to do, which is a minute long video, is now at 67.9 thousand views.
Whoa.
And it's a minute video, and it's you know it's a true video. I mean, it's the answer they gave me to give
Right.
people.
So it's
And
like
so
they're clearly using that. So, go with it. It's
yeah,
like
I
this
just
is
go
how
with it.
we want to this is how we want to use you today. This is how we want to speak through you today. So just go with that.
And when you look at the comments, there's always, and it amazes me, there's like 75,000, 80,000 people watching, and there's always these comments that are going, this should happen to me, or this one was about pets.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, was that it? Yeah, I think it was about pets and their energy. Wait, what was the question? Let me ask. Do our pets miss us as because it was different than a human love? And I was like, well, they don't
Yeah.
have to miss you because they never leave you. They're
Yeah.
they're still there with you. But anyway, so many people like I had to put my dog down tomorrow, or I was putting my cat down today. This helped me so much. This, that, and the other thing. And I said,
Yeah.
well, good. Well, then that's the reason that they had me put out that video, for that just thing, so people could get some peace and know that their animals are still around them. Animals don't die and disappear. And it's, and I hate to say this, and I'm going to use this platform to say it. I get so angry at the religions, and they don't all say this, but a lot of the religions tell people that animals have no soul, and then that we have dominion over them, and we are just the rulers of animals. And yes, we have dominion as fact as we're a little bit more intelligent in the way we can make tools and everything, but we are not better than them. They are still equal to us, and they love and they go on and they stay with us. So it's not a one-shot deal for these animals. And I don't know why people think it's a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
Uh, Even cows, chickens that we kill for food and everything, that's not a one-shot deal for them. You
Really
know,
the difference is that, and this is why people can have such a harder time sometime, even when a animal passes, than even if a person passes. The difference is, oh, someone's here. Yay. Hi, person. Let us know. Oh, Sky. Wonderful. So Sky, let us know what your question is. How you doing? But with us, with an animal, that is a pure spirit being that doesn't have the ego layers. With a person, we have ego layers, we have mind layers, and those layers are in essence blocks, to spirit that we spend our lifetimes peeling away. But the animals don't have that. So that's why the connection can be so much purer, And that's why it can be so challenging for us when they're not here on the planet anymore, because we had this little spirit being in a physical body and now they're not in a physical body and it's hard. So Sky, you are here and we can fill into anything you would like, and you're going to be a part of this to
Yeah.
share whatever's going on with you, with everybody else. So let us know. If it's all right, I'll just feel into whatever spirit wants you to know while you're thinking about that.
Absolutely. If you want a reading or have a question about anything, go ahead.
She's here because she loves us. Well, we love you too. Thank
Uh,
you.
but that's not fair.
You have to contribute, Sky. So you're going to contribute against your will. How is that synchronistic? All
Yeah.
right. So right now, Sky, I'm going to tell you, you are here because you love us, but you are also here because Spirit guided you to be here. And there are things that others are going to benefit from that are coming through because I'm connecting with you right now and because Dave's going to connect with you. So one thing is, you are dealing within the mind something that so many of us are dealing with in our minds, and that is anxiety, that is the worry, that is the ways that the mind says, you know what, we're in a whole new territory now of listening to spirit more than ever, of receiving more than ever, of living in a different way. And that makes the mind worry because so much goodness really and success that we're all starting to experience, like going, oh wow, I really can change my life in this way. It's like empowerment can be very scary to the mind. Because when we come into empowerment of realizing these things Dave's talking about, these things that I'm talking about, you know what? You really have no limits, spirit's on your side. When we get fully on board with that, the conditioned mind gets worried. And it probably should, because it's like, hey, yeah, your days are numbered. We're not going to live your way anymore. Some of us, like Dave, Dave had the benefit of having that near death experience that kind of wiped out a lot of his ego conditioning, that he could start with a fresh slate and come back, and that's a real gift in many ways. And those of us who don't have it in that sudden way, we kind of have to chip away at it. And
Yeah.
that mind does get scared and it does get
I
react.
have to say, as terrible as that was, I really lucked out.
Yeah, it's like a good thing. I mean, okay, so Sky says, yeah, it's a daily balance of respecting the mind, yes, but not letting it have control. Absolutely. It's like the mind is not our enemy. It is trying to help us the ways that it knows how. But now what's happening is this is surrender to effortlessness, is what the card says, because spirit is saying, hey, yeah, I understand and respect your mind too, but there's an easier way now. Just like we were saying earlier, it's just easier. If you just do it Spirit's way, it's just easier. And it's really hard depending on the amount of conditioning you've had. Oh, hi everybody else who's here.
Yeah.
And depending on the past life experiences you've had, the experiences in this life, it can be so challenging to not let that mind have control, because the mind is in there going, if you don't let me control things, things are going to get really bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not true, but we're tempted to believe that.
Yeah. And for those, that's a really good point. For those of you people always ask me, somebody just left a comment the other day. It says, I talk to my so-and-so family member all the time who passed away and for years, and I never ever feel them around me. I don't have a sign. And listen, if I could tell anybody who's always looking for a sign, one, they're always looking for something specific just to them. So they put it out there, and if they don't see it, then it didn't happen. But in reality, they're always giving you signs. And sometimes you have to tell the left side of your brain to shut up. And that's the whole thing. If you get a sign that you think is a sign, and a lot of times, the minute after you get that sign, what's the first thing we say? Oh, that was just a coincidence. Oh, that wasn't that. That's just a happy. Don't do that, because it's not. More times than not, that was the sign. And what happens is your left brain took over. That's that logical side that wants to make sense of everything. The side, there's nothing wrong with ego. People say, ego's bad, ego's this. And no, you need ego while you're here. Ego has to be in you while you're here. It keeps you from getting hit by cars. It keeps you from putting your hand on the stove twice, so it
Yeah.
keeps you from things. But also, It's the logical side of your human brain. Because remember, we're soul, spirit, we're soul, mind, and body. So we have a soul up here, we have a mind, and we have a body. When the mind gets in the way, it messes up what the soul's trying to say. So if you have a sign, I think the first thing you should say to yourself is this: I hear you, but I'll deal with that later. Right now, I'm just going to absorb this sign. I'm just going to get that. That way, your your mind won't discount it, and then you won't be saying to people later on, I never get signs, I never get signs. If you think back, you probably got 50 signs that day. you know
Mm-hmm.
you didn't. The other day, just to tell you a story how something works,
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks ago, I was with my mom. I didn't tell you this one, India, did I? I was with my mom, and I dropped her off at the door of a store because she's older, and I went to go park. And as I went to go park, I sat there for a second, and I heard a song that reminded me of my brother Kevin, who passed away right after my coma. He passed away, and I thought, oh, hey Kevin, I've learned to, when something like that happens, just say hi. So I said hi, and I was thinking about him. And then I went to go walk up to the store. On the way there, a dollar bill was on the ground. So I grabbed the dollar bill and I looked around to see if anybody was here, like to give it to him, but there's nobody around. It was just me. So I put the dollar bill in my pocket and didn't think anything of it. As I got in the store, I got the strong sense to say, check the dollar bill to see if it has meaning to it. So I opened up the dollar bill, and it was 2017. And that was the year that my brother passed away. So I found that directly after thinking about him. I said, oh, I told my mom, and she said, that's maybe a sign from your brother. It's Kevin saying hi. And I said, yeah, it probably is. I put the dollar bill back in my pocket. We went to another store a little later on. She waited in the car. I went in, I came out, and as I got to the door, a homeless person stopped me. And he said, sir, do you maybe have any, spare change or anything? And I don't know. A lot of people know this about me. I always keep cash in my wallet, a little bit of cash. The reason I do is because if somebody needs money, I can give it to them, and I have got cash. I don't care what they do with the cash. I give them those things unconditionally. So, by the way, if a homeless person gives you something, if you think in your head, oh, they'll just buy drugs with it, then don't even bother giving it to them, because you're not doing anything good. You're just going to sit there and think about it. If you give somebody something, it's unconditional. Give it to them. If they needed drugs, maybe they're going through withdrawals. So be it. Who knows? It's not my life. They needed something. But anyway, I went into my wallet to get this guy a couple dollars, and I was like, oh my gosh, that day I did not have any cash.
Mm-hmm.
I said, wait, hold on. And I went in my pocket, and I had the dollar from my brother. And I handed the guy the dollar, and he grabbed the dollar and grabbed my hand and looked me straight in the eye, and he says, I love you. And he turned around and walked away. And I thought, oh my God, that was, and I don't know why a homeless person would just look at me and say, I love you, instead of
That
thank
was your brother. Yes. Oh my gosh.
my hand, and the conviction, the way he said it.
Oh,
Oh, that's cool. I'm like, so that was a sign.
yes.
These are the kind of things I'm talking about. Don't discount anything, because you
Because
never know how they're going to get it to you.
spirit is coming through those people. I mean, that is spirit, and someone, when it comes through a stranger, they may have no idea. I mean, we've all had those experiences where you're just having a really challenging day, and a stranger just says the perfect thing, and you're like, that was an angel. That was literally an angel coming through that person. I mean, it is. So now we have Rhonda and Marna and Johnny. Thank you for being here. And Lori. So Lori's open to a message. Let's feel into what's happening.
Yeah, if you guys got a, question, go ahead and ask it.
Yeah, Sky says, yes, give with a happy heart. That's so beautiful. Yeah, because, and you know what? Don't judge yourself if you can't. If you're in a place and you see a
Yeah.
homeless person, you're like, I can't today. Don't judge
Yeah,
yourself. Just
don't worry
don't
about
judge them. Just don't judge them either. Just no
it.
judgment.
I always say this: if that person needed something really at that moment, it'll get to them. It really will get to them. But a lot of times it's through you. And remember this too: you know how many times you've said stuff to people and didn't even know what you said? If you've ever walked on the road and maybe saw some lady sitting on the park bench looking lonely, and you just sat there and you maybe looked at her and said, hey, I really like your coat, or I really like your hair. It might have been something so small like that, but when you walked away, that simple act of kindness may have changed that entire day for them.
Absolutely. Yes. So Johnny says, first time watching you both. Yes. And he has a question as well. So we will go with Lori's message and then go to you, Johnny. And Lori, for you, it's very much about letting this ego mind cycle end that says that you have to please others, that you have to take care of things for others, that you have to keep up these roles of I'm the one who always dot dot dot, or I'm the one who always dot dot dot. It's okay that they still expect you to do things, and anyone listening who is sort of feeling like put upon or feeling like why am I in these roles I don't want to be in with other people, you can end them at any time. It's just that the ego so builds up that discomfort of ending them. It's like, but listen to your body, Lori, because there's some stuff going on in your body that's letting you know when something's right for you and when it's not, and it's very much letting you know what you have to let go of. And the fear is just what the ego says. Oh, well, if you let go of you're not, no one's going to care about you, or they're not going to think of you the same way. You have to turn all these over. Just again, say, you know what, that's none of my business. My job now is to play, to listen to spirit, to listen to my body, to let that little kid in me have fun, and spirits can take care of everything else.
Yeah. John has a question here, but
Yeah.
I don't quite understand the question. Do you?
Okay. Anything from my child care and spirit. Okay. So let's just,
What are you
from my
asking?
child care.
Child, you have a child in spirit?
So, Johnny, that might be a typo. Let us know what you mean by anything from my child care and spirit.
You have a child in spirit. Is it a little boy?
There's a child on the other
Child
side.
in spirit. Yeah.
Okay, a child on the other side. Okay. Yes. Okay. Got it. A boy.
A boy. And it's the same name as yours? Why are there juniors and seniors of your name?
No,
Why,
not the same
why
name.
are there juniors and seniors of your name? Why is someone like John? I'm just asking. I'm not even connected in yet, but they keep chatting over here.
And for those listening, Johnny's just popping up his answers as we go. So we'll wait for that.
John, as we go along, I'm just going to let them talk.
You know what? I wonder if I can make Johnny come on in audio. I bet I can. Magic, technology magic. I'm gonna see if I can. Oh, my screen name is under my son's name, Johnny. Okay. Oh, this is mom. Mom is Johnny. Sorry, I was calling you he. So mom is Johnny.
Oh, so Johnny is your son.
Yeah, Johnny's the son. And Johnny, I'm going to see if I can bring you on just so you can ask us questions in the audio if you want to. And in the meantime, Lori says that reading just validated what you already told her, Dave. So here comes Johnny. Here comes Johnny.
Here comes Johnny Claus.
Okay. We're going to ask you to unmute. There we go. Hi.
Hi, hon. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
So the little boy's name's Johnny.
No.
Who's
My
Johnny?
son here on Earth
Is Johnny.
I have a son here. His name is Johnny.
Okay, but
for some reason I can't change it.
The one on the other side.
No, the one on the other side is not Johnny.
Okay.
That's Johnny's brother.
Yes, but for some reason I can't fix it in Zoom.
That's okay.
To put my name.
So that's why they kept telling me it's like Johnny Jr. or a small version of Johnny. So it would be his little brother. Well, I don't know if it would be his little brother.
Yes, little brother.
Okay, so it is his little brother. Perfect.
Yes.
All right. I don't mean perfect that he laughed. I just mean perfect that they're validating it the right way.
No, I know.
Well, give us a second. We'll chat. You can ask us any questions. Now, go ahead and talk to India. I got to get in my space for a minute. It takes me about 10 seconds, and then we'll see what I can come up with. Okay.
So I just want to say I haven't watched you, but I follow you both, and I've tried to get links and get in some of your open group sessions, and I never made it.
Oh my God. So we talked about earlier about synchronicities, why stuff happened. So we could not get on YouTube to go live and everything. So we decided to invite some people in, and here you are. So
that's wonderful. There's a reason.
Yeah.
And tell me your name. What's your name?
My name is Laureen.
Okay, so Laureen, I'm telling you, thank you for being here. And this is huge evidence of.
I'll be back. Go ahead.
Because I'm telling you, we've been on for about an hour, and the whole time I've been like, go live, and it keeps acting like it's going to. And I'm telling you, validation, and I'm getting chills in my body. this is for you. And there are many who will benefit from, this, what we're doing and this podcast and what Spirit's doing here. But Spirit wants you to know this is your personal reading arranged for you, because that's how much you are supported, loved, and this is something we never would have thought with our human minds to put together. So that's for
Thank
you.
you.
Yes, and please know that your team's with you, that you are so supported. And an important thing they're moving you through right now is the putting down of old burdens. Your boy on the other side and your guide team are like, we want to bring you so many gifts. We want to bring you so many good things, but we do need you to put down those burdens and let these things come in. I understand, I don't know firsthand, but I understand that with grieving, a lot of it can be you carry the burden of the sadness that is hard to put down because it's your only link, it feels like, to that child. But they're saying, oof, all the chills. Huh, he's definitely here. I feel him.
Mm,
But this justice card says, we want you I want you to feel all this joy, that when you're carrying that burden of sadness, it's blocking the joy. So, it's not that you can't be sad about not being with your child, but it is that there are so many things that where good stuff's being brought in. And I got to be harsh with you. Spirit, there's sheer stubbornness involved here. It's like you are not letting go of something. And those who love you and your guides are like, Lorraine, put it down. We're giving you some good stuff here. Grab it. And you're like, no, no. And I understand, I can't even imagine how difficult it is. But if you will um, put your faith in what they're saying and say, okay, I trust you. I'm gonna open up, in these ways you're guiding me to. It's really gonna be worth it. Sometimes the heart, can be like, no, no, I'm not opening up because I'm just trying to deal with what I got here. But
Yeah.
it's going to be very healing and very beautiful, and it actually will let you feel that connection more strongly with your child, to put down whatever it is you might be holding on to that's heavy and that is done.
hey, can I say a
Thank
question?
you.
I have an energy here that's telling me about how he got to be held. He got to be held. Um, did your son get to be held before he passed?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, so that's just telling me that he actually made it into the physical world. And
Oh, yes, he did, definitely.
thank you. I'm sorry, it was accidental.
I'm sorry.
Accidental.
Um,
Accidental about it. What's the accident that happened? Because that's what I'm talking about. Because something here. Give me just 2 seconds. Hi, hon. What did you say? Thank you. He gave me he's giving me something about his head was being really foggy, so I almost like a little dizzy for a minute. Does that make sense to you? I'm not quite sure what that is, why he's giving it to me, but it's some kind of it's real strangeness. I can't figure out why I can't see straight. The way
I don't know.
I feel really lightheaded. What did he die from? That's what
Um, a heart condition.
okay, so that might have been why. Okay, so he's just giving me some of that what he was doing. But anyway, because he was really fatigued.
Yes, yes, he was.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Okay, that's the only thing I'm trying to get through. He's coming in so quietly, so I'm gonna get him to come in a little closer because he's up and down. Okay, did he make it to 4? He made it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he made it past 4 because he was okay. Hold on a minute. He wants to talk about 4. Okay.
For,
Hold on. Let me ask him why he wants to talk about 4. Okay.
yeah, I don't know.
Thank you. Was he starting to see doctors around there or something? Because this energy is telling me that when I was about 4, he goes, I felt like I was very normal at about 4. And he said, and then it started to change and change and change. And he said, I just kind of went with it.
Um, well, he saw doctors his entire life. Maybe around 4 or 5, it started to get bad.
Okay. And that's all he's like letting me know that that's when he was just going with it too. What a brave kid.
Yeah.
Absolutely brave kid. Um,
Oh,
He had absolutely, okay, I'm going to try to get as much validation as I can from him before I give you any big, strong messages, because that's just the way I
yes,
work. But, and he'll probably do it as we're speaking. Go ahead, Harm. What did you say? I talked out loud to them. Sorry.
that's okay.
Thank you. He's telling me he was well aware. He was well aware of what was going to happen to him. He said there was no changing it and there was nothing he could do. And he was fine because his soul actually already knew what was going to happen. He's very grateful to have got the time to spend here again. He is always with you. Actually, he's grown up. So I guess that's the way I can put it. We don't really grow up. There's no age on the other side, but the way he's speaking right now is not of a child. He's so much more smarter than a child. I think when he got here, his intelligent level was so up there. It was unbelievable because he didn't seem like a child. It's like he didn't seem his age. He always seemed older. He knew more than others. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. T. Who's got the T name? T. T.
T.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He's referring to somebody with a letter T in their name, but that's okay. Just let that go because I could be hearing it wrong. If I say something wrong, it's me. If I say something right, it's him.
No, there was something with a T. It wasn't a real person here.
Keeps giving me the T name over and over and over. So as long as you know what that is, that's fine. If that's your validation, I don't know what it is. They don't always explain it to me, but it keeps saying the T, T, T. So I'm like, all right, gotcha. Thank you. All right. Why? Okay. Thank you. Did he also have, I mean, I hate to put it this way, but the way he's giving it to me, he was such open and so open when he was a kid. He just had a lot of like friends nobody could see. But he did see them.
Not that I was aware of.
Yeah, he knew exactly who these people. So basically, he's just telling me. So maybe it's not for you, but he's telling me that he was well aware of spirits well before he left. This was something that needed to happen. 6 months, last 6 months of his life, he wants to go through. Okay, thank you. He was all right. Just so you know this, and I don't want it to be sad. So this isn't sad, okay? He's just trying to explain something to me. It's really quite interesting. I'm always quite interested in the younger spirits who pass away because they have so much cool things to say.
Yes.
It is. He was talking to me about this last 6 months. The last 6 months when he was up in the bed or when he was up in where he was, he said that he was going in and out because he said he was quite aware that there's most of the family, a lot of people in the family were not aware or would not believe what was going to happen was happening. He said they were struggling with not being to accept it at all. And he said, I heard them all the time. I tried to fix that, but I couldn't. He said that I had told people that I would be okay, even though I knew I wasn't. Does that make sense to you?
Kind of.
Okay.
Kind of.
I'm only going from what he's saying, but
No, I completely understand
all right.
that part of it. Yes.
Give me the big kahuna, dude.
Yeah. That's what mommy needs.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
I need
Dave,
something
can
real.
can I ask a question while you're waiting for that, Dave?
Go ahead, because he's just here. So the energy's just
Maybe something more that we need to feel into just for a second. So Lorraine, when you were saying, and you've said it several times, that you do need something big, something real, and you need that. And I gotta say, he's on the other side. He's still him in many ways. And oof, okay. So I actually feel things energetically rather than hearing them like what Dave does. I feel it. So I feel his energy, and it's kind of a lot of pressure for him. Okay, he's someone who he's very like, it's a lot. Okay, it's a lot, and I can feel him, and he's kind of like, Mom, all right, like back off a little bit. And when we got that stubbornness message, it's like, Mom, you're really like, yikes, like. And I mean, I know you are going through a ton. I mean, I just feel his little self. And he's like, you are going through a ton. And he's like, I want to like, wow, yeah, I want to like carry you through. But Mom, like, I can't put all that on me. And so there's just I'm not hearing that like a phrase. That's an energy I'm feeling. I want to clarify. It feels like he's going, like, and because he's on the other side, he has the freedom to be like, and I'm slipping out over here. I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
available for that. So the gentler you can be, and the more in the 5D, meaning on the spirit level, if you can say to him, hey, do whatever's right for you, but I would sure love to feel you. Just sort of back off a little energetically.
You
It's
just love.
kind of like rat. You know what I'm saying?
Um,
Yeah.
so he wants to start drawing is where we're going with this right now. He wants to start drawing, so that's what he's doing. For me, it's just sometimes how they work with me. He did this, but this is, and I couldn't figure out if this was a kiss. I couldn't remember if it was the kiss he spoke about or the KBB or KEB. Kept going on and on and on. Just hold on to it because it's important, because he wanted to bring it up, but he wanted to talk
Okay.
about the kiss. And the kiss came in when you talked about wanting to know that he's here, because he does kiss you every time. He kisses you every night before you go to bed because you feel the kiss all the time. He kisses you on the cheek and he kisses you once on the forehead. He always tells me about wanting to kiss your forehead. I don't know why. That could be a spirit thing that they tend to go into this third eye, but he does kiss you every night when you go to bed and you do feel it. He said, Mom, that is me. You don't need David. You need to know that that's me, no matter what. You just
And
need
I
to.
want to tell you, as a mom, I'm a mom too. Our kids need what they need from us, and he needs something different from what you need. He really needs you to. I'm sorry, I'm going to start crying. He really wants you to validate him.
Yeah.
He wants you to validate him because he's coming to you and he's giving you energy and he's giving you kisses. Ah, I'm feeling his energy.
He also
Wizard,
wanted you to know,
you to listen to
he
him and
said, he also said to tell you that nobody took me. So
yeah.
don't think anybody took me, because everybody said they keep saying that they took me. They said I wasn't taken. Nobody takes me anywhere. I'm still here. I'm still here. So he wants you to be aware of that. Okay. So be aware of that. I know you miss him physically, and I'm sorry, I'm removed from the emotion.
I'm
So
feeling it. I'm feeling it. It's a mommy thing. I feel it. So listen, he
goes,
wants
he goes through, I'm sorry, he's got such cool stuff around you. One, he's always behind you. One, he shows up as rainbows, and he shows up with these really light blue lights. A lot of times he comes in at these really light blue lights, almost like a mist, because he keeps giving me all these ways that he travels around. Remember this, he's done with his body. He said it's no good anymore. He said it doesn't work good anymore. So he said I couldn't do anything anymore. He said I got tired. I couldn't play. I couldn't do anything. And he said, so I was happy not to have it anymore. So please know that I do feel better now. All the crippling stuff is gone, he's saying. So all that is gone. But I don't know. Did he have a hard time walking or something before he left? Okay, because that's back. So you need to know that, because that's back. All that crippling stuff is back. So he's just letting you know that. I know. What's him with the water? Water.
I don't know. Water.
The only reason is I keep seeing water, and I keep seeing bodies of water, and I don't know why.
I don't know.
I'll figure that out. It could be anything. It could be how he's hanging, how he's feeling, where he wants to be. A lot of times, some of these younger ones will show me themselves standing next to a seaside, because they're telling me that they're with the ebb and flow of life, that are just going in and out. So sometimes that's all it is. But he keeps going on and on.
and feel those feelings. Water is
Did he
feeling.
miss a vacation?
I'm sorry.
Did he miss a vacation?
He what?
Did he miss a vacation?
Oh, he's missed many.
Okay, no. Before he died, there was someplace you couldn't go because he was sick. That's what he's discussing. He said,
Yeah.
but you guys got to go anyway?
No.
You can, he says, because if you go, I'll go with you.
He was a Make-A-Wish kid.
Okay, so there we go.
And he never got to go on his trip.
Okay.
So I'm really getting strongly tonight,
You need
especially
to know that.
when you lay down, or when when you would normally feel his kisses, let him know that you feel him, and let him know that he's doing a good job and it's enough, because he wants to know that you feel him, because the mind does come in, and the mind does need, and God knows our minds need, I need something concrete, and there's nothing wrong with that, but energetically let him know that he's doing plenty, you know, and that mommy feels you, and just let him know that, because he's still, I'm getting so many tingles. It's like he still does need you to be his mommy in that way, and sort of like let him know it's good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to say a few more things, and just a few more things. I've learned doing this to say whatever is said to me, whether it makes sense or not, because a lot of times it doesn't make sense to me and I get screwed up, and it like makes sense to you later on. Who was on the fourth floor? The fourth floor he's talking about, was that the hospital he was in?
No, he was on the 6th floor at the hospital.
What was fourth floor? I kept going. It was so loud, but just hold on to that for later. It might hit you later. Don't worry about it now. It's not a test. I could be wrong,
Okay.
but it was loud. But it was loud enough
Okay.
on the fourth floor.
Well, Laureen, I'm so glad we got to connect with you in this way, and thank you for being here. And
Yeah,
we will have this recording out so you can have it again.
write to me.
Thank you.
Message me, honey. Don't get a reading. Just message me, and because he's got so much to say, and it's all over the place, and that he's just this. All he does is talk, 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 talk. He doesn't shut up, and that's the thing. But that's how he was in life too. It's actually how he is over there too. He always has something to say, because he keeps telling me. I always wanted to say something. He goes, he said the nice thing about being sick is people listen to me. But he said, because if I wasn't sick, sometimes I would just go, I was just a kid, shut up. But he said, I'm not just a kid, but people listen to me.
And you're getting double confirmation, because Dave's hearing all this. I'm feeling that energy. I can feel him so strong. I mean, he is there. He is there.
Just know this too, the way he shows it to me, he walks up in front of you as if you're sitting, and he puts his arms around you, and he puts his little face on your chest. So that's what he does all the time. He does that quite a bit. And that's him telling me that he loves you so much, and he's with you, and he always feels you as well. So you need to understand that. I don't know why he's coming to me so much older than he was when he died. Not in look, but in personality, I guess you could say.
We always used to call him the old soul.
There
He
he
was just
go.
an
Okay.
old soul.
That's just probably the way he's just validating how he's coming in by getting me to say these things. But he is an old soul. This life was nothing new to him. This was something he's done a million times before. He said he's died a million times before. And he said he knew he was only supposed to be in here for this short time. But he says the fact that what he had, he says that you contribute to that, or you now help that, so other children won't have that. Does that make sense? Because you're going to be able to talk to other mothers or anything who have to go through this later on. You're going to be able to help them.
I'm getting confirmation for that too, Lorraine, because I got a lot of messages about your soul purpose. So you can ask him to show you little signs of nudging you in that direction. But there's something with your, not to put pressure on yourself, but there's something with your soul's purpose that is going to reach other people in his name. So thank you. And thank you for sharing him.
What he has, other children have had too, and they just need to know how to deal with it. And there actually needs to be something that needs to be done medically about it. So pretty much, if you look at it this way, what a brave, wonderful, beautiful soul that was to come in and take one for the team in order for them to understand, because they've learned some things from things that happened to him that hadn't happened to other people. Does that make sense?
That is true.
Some really rare things he's talking about. He said there were some rare things, and it didn't happen to other kids, David. It happened to just me. And that's one of the things why they're changing that up, and they're trying to help. So, you know, whenever something really terrible happens, and it does, and I'm trying not to make the terrible things sound better, but terrible things, there's always an other side to that. There's always something good that came from it. And it was terrible that he left here early and had to leave you. But the beautiful thing is the reasons behind it that will start to show. You're going to start to see him in a more bigger and broader light than he ever was in. You're going to know that what he did was for a reason. You know, what he had was for a reason. How he acted was for a reason. You know? And he said that went to another kid. He said it went to another kid because he couldn't go. I don't know how that works.
It may have.
He's talking about somebody else benefited from his not going, but he said, I got to go someplace cooler. So that's how he's putting it where he is now. So as much as he wishes that he was right next to you, or you knew he was right next to you, because to them, they are right next to you.
Right.
They are what they want to be. Unfortunately, we can't get it. I mean, I know, even as a medium, I am not immune to grief. I am not immune to any of that. I am not immune to missing a sign, you know? So just keep in mind, he'll give you that big validation. You don't need it from me in a reading. You just need to know that he's there.
But you did get it because we felt it for sure. And thank you for being here, Lorraine. And I'm going to change you back to attendee. So you're still here, but you're going to go there. And then thank you for sharing that because we all feel him.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about your loss, dear.
Yes. And we have Marna. Marna says, bless your sweet boy. May you feel him close to you. And Dave, we also have a question over here from Facebook. And this is from Michelle. And she's asking, will I be able to break these ties to my ex and meet someone who actually appreciates me? And she gets sad when she thinks about the wasted time, what she feels like it might be.
So, one, you got to look at it this way. None of it was a waste of time. You know why? Because everything that happened to you in that relationship, you will now recognize for any other relationship, and that won't repeat itself. So nothing is ever a waste of time. Nothing we do here is a waste of time. Okay. Yes, you will. What's happening is you're not really wanting the ex back. You're wanting what you thought you had with that person. So what happened is the relationship that you wanted, it's ingrained in you. And that person came in to try to fulfill it. They didn't fulfill it. But for some reason, we just kind of keep hanging on to that. Let it go. Go on to the next, because marriage is in your future. All this stuff is in your future. That person really was not good for you. That person really wasn't. And they're not necessarily awful. I don't like to call other people awful that aren't here, but the energies just weren't there. Go ahead and take it for what it is. Go back through the relationship and think, what did I learn from this relationship? Know that relationship was supposed to go the way it did, so you can move on to the next one. It's not far off, but it's not going to happen until you drop this one. And the reason is, if you don't drop this relationship, when the next energy comes in, it's going to repeat. So because it's going to attract, you're going to attract exactly what you're going through now. You're going to attract the same exact person again. Just let it go, because you didn't do anything wrong. It's just the way it worked out. But yeah, once you get rid of that person, the next one will come in. It's really quite soon.
Yeah, I get it. I get that as soon as well, because you have this King of Cups coming out, who's that loving person coming in. It is important, like Dave said, that you let those unhealthy relationship dynamics end with the relationship, so that you don't attract that in a different way as well. Okay, Michelle. And then also, Barb, who's here, says, what do I need to know about allowing someone into my life? Not anyone on the horizon yet, just allowing someone in. Okay. So, for Barb.
I'll let you start on that one.
Okay. Okay. So, first of all, Barb, it's about aligning with knowing that spirit is bringing that person in. And, it is up to you. Like you phrased it correctly, allowing that energy in. So the first thing to do is ask, okay, well, what is my hesitation? Where does the fear of letting someone in come from? Because they say, what I'm getting is, someone's available to you, that love is available to you. It's just that your mind associates love with drama. It associates love with pain. It associates love with difficulty. And that is actually not love. That's not what they're bringing in. That's an old cycle, like we just talked about for Michelle. That's an old relationship cycle that you were taught, that you inherited, that you probably had in past lifetimes. And now what's required as you move into this new version of love is that complete surrender of, what? I don't even know what this higher version of love, what this unconditional love that I'm receiving looks like. But I do know how to honor myself. I know how to honor what's right for me. Let me just let spirit bring in the package that that love is going to be in. And as long as you're not doing old relationship dynamics that don't work for you anymore, and as long as you're saying, I don't know, I'm just going to allow this to show me and following your heart, you're already ready to receive it. It's just noticing, why have I been putting it off? Mhm. And having compassion for that part of yourself too, because it
Yeah.
went.
And if you want to attract in, there are certain people who want to hide themselves away. And if you're going to hide yourself away, you're going to attract in somebody who's most likely going to be nosy. And what happens is the world wants you to come clean about yourself. I would say in order for you to allow people to come in, you have to be open to them too. You have to, as much as you allow them to come into your life, you have to allow yourself to be part of theirs as well. Relationships are not one-sided. They are they're they're an agreement between two souls to come together for whatever reason. I would say just be yourself, be open. If somebody does come in, tell them your your worst secrets. Let them see you without your hair done. Let them, talk to them without brushing your teeth. Wear your weird shoes or do whatever. If they can accept you for all that, they're going to be perfect for you. The ones that don't accept you for you at your worst are the ones that you don't even want there. If you can accept me at my worst, you can accept me at my best.
Yeah.
So forget it. But I wouldn't even worry about it. I would just go forward, and it's actually, when you ask the question, the way they present the question to me, back to me, the spirit says, this isn't about allowing somebody else in. It's about allowing you to come out.
Hmm. I love that. The new that you haven't seen in relationship before.
Be
So
you. Be wild, because you haven't been wild enough. You keep saying, oh, be wild. It's
yeah,
good.
stop procrastinating. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
So we are going to wrap up pretty soon, but this podcast, these podcasts are a wonderful example. And there's one more question we'll do. Um, they're a wonderful example of what we were saying about spirit. I mean, it turned into such a beautiful time. We had, so many beautiful connections, exactly what spirit intended, nowhere near what our ego minds thought we were going to do today. So it's really a lesson in itself. And, let's go with that flow in our lives, because it always is going to lead to something amazing. Okay, so Sky's asking, there's someone who's passed around, her name Mary. She's not clear why she's there. So, okay, so Mary is not clear on why she's showing herself to you, Sky. And it feels as if she has something she's trying to convey, but she just feels love. And then she says, LOL, as if that's not enough. Just wondering if that's, if there's more to it than that. Okay.
Sometimes it's the simplest things. And so, are you telling me there's a spirit that's hanging around you
Yeah,
named
that's what
Mary,
she's saying.
and you're wondering why Mary's hanging around with you? Because
Yeah.
you hear her. Sometimes it's because we just hear them. Mary's not even related to you. This Mary.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it might be though, because there feels like to be some kind of connection. It feels like there is a connection, but I don't know what the connection is. All my guides are telling me is I don't have Mary here. Um, is that sometimes we feel something and we attach a persona to it, when basically it's just spirits coming in. Thank you. They said that it's more than one spirit, actually. It's not just one spirit. So all you need to do is just acknowledge them. Um, don't look for the purpose. What happens is when we start searching for a purpose, especially with the spirits on the other side, it's very difficult to do from this end, even from a medium, because like we talked about the left brain before, our mind will get in the way. Our mind wants to write a story about it. The whole thing is about mediumship is you can't write the story. You can't write it. You just got to say what they say, and that's it. It's not going to mean anything to you. Most of the people that I talk to on the other side, I still, some of them I get to know very, very well. Some of them just reach out that way. Some just tell me everything they want to say. And then you have to remember this. They are a different entity too than you. Even when we're connected, they're a different entity to you. So if their memories are going to be different from yours, memories are going to be different from theirs. They just have to say stuff to get you to a place. So this spirit more or less is probably just hanging out. I would just ask more questions. And once you get the answers, I would go try to validate them somehow. There's always a way to validate something, but there's nothing, I don't feel anything dangerous about anything with this person. And
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much just someone talking to you, and it's nothing more than, like you said, they're just showing you something, and maybe they're setting you up for something. Because Sky, so you've been delving into mediumship a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, because that's what they're talking about. Is that what they're talking about? They said that you've been delving into it, like
I'm
really.
getting that too, because I got that this is part of her expression of more, more of her soul work. So I am getting that they're actually nudging you more into mediumship. And she says, yes, she's been.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, they're just coming in. I mean, you got to look at it this way. When I was a young child, before I even knew what a medium was or anything, I mean, I would have things visit me all the time and not knowing what the hell that was. And I went through most of my life not knowing what the hell that was. It's basically what they're doing to you. You're just a little older now as it's starting, and they're just saying, this is what it feels like. This is what this feels like. This is what that feels like. This is what this kind of person feels like. This is what this energy feels like. So I think it's a good thing, and I would just chat. I would take this time whenever I have a strange spirit come talk to me. I take the time to start asking them questions, and then I go validate the answers I get. I'll ask them simple questions that I can validate.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll validate. I've had them, bring to me signs about how many people in my family, how many people I know, or stuff that I've done in the past, and they brought it up. They've had other people bring it up to me. And I was like, oh, that was them. They got that person to say something to me. So yeah, validation is very important. I think you're muted, India.
Because I have a background noise, I was trying to mute out. But it is just amazing what Spirit did with this. And I'm so glad we got to connect with everybody here. Thank you to everybody who came in and posted questions elsewhere. And thank you for being flexible with us with Spirit. And we are going to be posting this. Well, you're already listening to it on our podcast, so we'll be doing that. And thank you, Dave, for doing this with me.
Oh, thank you. We had fun. We'll try a YouTube one again.
I mean, this was perfect, but yes, we will.
Fine. Yeah.
Yes, and so many. I loved how many different things came through. I mean, this really had a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah, they ran the gamut on all kinds of stuff. And I
Yeah.
hope, I know she's not here now. I hope she gets peace from her child. I mean,
Absolutely. And everybody here, thank you for such wonderful questions and for sharing your experiences with us and allowing us all to benefit from that. So we will connect again with everybody soon.
bye,
Bye.